The rain poured down hard against the tin roof, drowning out the girl's soft sobs. Her suitcase, old and tattered, sat beside her muddy boots. 19-year-old Lena Harper stood trembling at the edge of a worn-out porch in the Appalachian backwoods, trying to make sense of what had just happened. Her father's words still echoed in her head. "You shamed this family, girl. You think you can get pregnant and walk around like nothing happened? No. You'll live with Eli Thomas up on the mountain. He'll teach you discipline. He's a man who knows how to handle your kind." Her kind. What did that even mean? She hadn't expected kindness, but she never thought her father would cast her away like garbage. She didn't even get to say goodbye to her little brother, Caleb. She was just shoved into the truck, dropped at the edge of the wilderness, and left behind like a stain he couldn't scrub clean. And now here she was, wet, alone, and 3 months pregnant. With no idea who this mountain man even was. The front door creaked open, and a tall, broad-shouldered man stood in the frame. His beard was thick, his expression unreadable. His flannel shirt was patched, and his boots looked older than she was. "You Lena?" he asked, his voice rough but not unkind. She nodded. "I'm Eli. Come on in." The cabin was surprisingly warm, smelling of pine wood and coffee. It was clean, simple, and full of books stacked high along every wall. Eli didn't say much that first day. He showed her the small room she'd be sleeping in, a cozy nook with a handmade quilt on the bed. He made her tea, offered her food, and then left her alone. No questions. No accusations. No judgment. Lena cried that night, not from fear, but from confusion. She'd expected yelling, maybe even cruelty. But Eli had offered her silence, and space. Over the next few weeks, Lena learned more about the man people called a recluse, a hermit, a beast. But he wasn't any of those things. He was gentle, if awkward. Quiet, but thoughtful. He showed her how to chop wood safely, how to gather herbs in the forest, how to patch a torn shirt. He left warm soup by her door on days when she couldn't stop crying, and he never once asked her why she was there. Then one evening, as snow began to fall, he broke the silence. "I know what your daddy said," he murmured, staring into the fireplace. "He thinks punishment fixes pain. But it doesn't. Sometimes what we call punishment is just an excuse to throw away what we don't understand." Lena blinked, startled by his words. "You ain't broken," he added. "You're just wounded. There's a difference." And for the first time in weeks, Lena smiled. Winter wrapped the mountain in silence. The days were long, the nights longer, but Lena found comfort in the rhythm of life there. She read the books Eli let her borrow. She sketched in an old notebook. Her belly grew, and so did her sense of self. One day, as they were walking back from gathering firewood, Lena asked, "Why do you live up here alone?" Eli paused, then looked out over the frosted hills. "My wife died. Long time ago. We were trying for a baby, but she passed during childbirth. I couldn't save her. I left town and never looked back." Lena felt a lump rise in her throat. "I'm sorry." He nodded. "So when your daddy asked if I'd take you in, I figured maybe this time I could do something right." As the months passed, Lena began to feel stronger. The shame that once clung to her skin began to fade. She remembered who she was before the whispers, before the judgment. One evening, she asked Eli if she could cook dinner. He grinned. "Only if you're ready to teach me something. I'm terrible at anything beyond beans and biscuits." She made chili, and they laughed, really laughed, for the first time. "I thought you were gonna be some wild mountain man," she teased. "I am," he chuckled. "But I'm also really bad at chili." When Lena went into labor on a stormy spring night, it was Eli who carried her to the truck, driving the winding road to the nearest clinic with urgency and calm. He held her hand through the worst of the pain, whispering quietly, "You can do this. You're stronger than anyone I've ever met." And when her daughter, Hope, was born, healthy, screaming, and full of life, Eli cried for the first time in years. "I wish her daddy could have been this kind," Lena whispered. Eli looked at her, tears in his eyes. "She has you. And that's more than enough." 2 weeks later, Lena received a letter. It was from her father. "I heard you had the baby. I reckon you learned your lesson now. Come home and we'll pretend like none of this happened." Lena read it twice, then folded it and placed it in the fire. She had learned her lesson, but not the one he meant. She'd learned that love wasn't about control or shame. It was about presence, about choosing someone even when it wasn't easy. That night, she told Eli, "I want to stay. If that's okay." Eli looked at her, holding baby Hope in his arms. "This is your home now. If you want it to be." Over the next year, the cabin on the mountain transformed. The once silent walls echoed with baby giggles, bedtime stories, and the sound of Lena singing while cooking dinner. She started selling her drawings online. Eli helped her build a small studio by the garden. She mailed one of her prints, a drawing of the cabin under a starry sky, to a woman who messaged her, "This artwork feels like healing." She never replied to her father's other letters. She didn't need to. She'd found something better than the approval of someone who never tried to understand her. She'd found family. One summer afternoon, while sitting under a tree, Lena looked at Eli and asked, "Why did you say yes? Why did you take me in?" He thought for a moment. "Because I saw myself in you. Lost. Angry. Hurt. But still holding on." He looked at baby Hope, now toddling toward a butterfly. "And because I believe people deserve more than punishment. They deserve a chance to become something new." Years later, Lena would write about her life in a memoir titled, "The Mountain Healed Me." The book would go on to become a quiet bestseller, resonating deeply with young women who'd been silenced, judged, or thrown away. And when asked during interviews who saved her, Lena would always say the same thing. "A man who lost everything but gave me everything. He didn't try to fix me. He just stayed. And sometimes, that's the greatest kind of love." Final message. Sometimes, the people who were supposed to protect us fail us. They punish our vulnerability, abandon us in our time of need, or turn their backs when we're at our most broken. But then, like a light flickering in the dark, someone unexpected chooses us, not because they have to, but because they see something worth saving. Kindness isn't loud. It's quiet, steady, and often unnoticed. But it changes lives. Lena's story reminds us, no matter how far we're cast aside, we're never truly lost. Love has a way of finding us, especially in the places we least expect.